Hi, good morning. Hope you're well. Good to see you all again. Now, today's story is called Brave Abigail, and it's based around a story about sharing. Have you ever been asked to share something, like from your brother, with your brother or sister or a friend? And what would be your response? Was it to be, oh, no, I don't want to share? Or do you think about it and then they say, yeah, of course, there's no problem at all, we can share? It's a good thing, sharing. It makes other people happy. It's good not to be selfish and keep everything for yourself. And in today's story, we hear about a very selfish man. And I wonder what happened to him. Well, we'll find out later in the story. But of course, it's now the time to wrap before the story. So when you're ready, here we go. Let's open the book. Let's take a look. Let's listen and see how good God can be. Let's take a look. Let's open the book. Let's open the book. Let's take a look. Let's listen and see how good God can be. Let's take a look and let's open the book. Well done. A lot of practicing has been done on that one, I can see. So, today's story is all about Abigail. Brave Abigail. And it starts with her rushing around, rushing here, rushing there. Abigail was rushing around everywhere. She was beating the carpets. She was sweeping the floor. She takes and shakes the blankets outside. Abigail is a very, very busy woman. But sadly, Abigail was unhappy because no matter how hard she works, her master, Nabal, always finds fault and always says unkind things to her. Now, a little bit later, Nabal was arriving back at his tent and where Abigail was cleaning. And he shouts, "Abigail! Abigail! Where are you, you useless woman? Where's my dinner? I'm starving." And he sits down and waits for his dinner. A little bit later on, a man called Laban heard he's one of the head servants, and he comes in to speak to Nabal. And he says, "Master, a messenger from David was looking for you today. Did he find you?" "Yes, he did," roars Nabal. He said David wanted food and wanted food for a big band of wasters that he leads around the countryside. I told him to get lost. There's no way am I giving my food away to them. But sir, David's men always help you and the shepherds when they've been out in the hills. They keep you safe and the shepherds safe. Please give him the food." Nabal roars again, "I don't care. I'm not sharing my food with the likes of them. Now, Abigail, where's my dinner?" Well, later that night, when Nabal was fast asleep, Laban warns Abigail, "Mistress, the master has put us all in danger. David is angry that Nabal has insulted him and refused to give his men any of the food. He's sworn to kill Nabal and all of his men." "No," says Abigail. "We must think about a way to stop him." "I know," she said. "Fetch the donkeys and I'll go and ask David to ask for mercy." "No, please don't go, mistress," says Laban. "It's too dangerous for you. You could get killed." But of course, Abigail is a very busy woman, and she says, "No, I'm determined I'm going." So she and Laban loaded bread and wine onto the donkeys, and she sets off to find David. But of course, she's got to find him first, and hopefully stop him from attacking Nabal and the camp. She searches as high in the mountains and low in the valleys. She trots all over the fields, but she can't find him anywhere. She rides her donkeys far and wide in search, but no, she cannot find him. But what was that in the distance? There was a cloud of dust. It's a gang of rough-looking men, and they're coming towards her. But which one is David? She stops the men with her hand, and then she kneels down. She asked to speak to the one that's David. Well, a good-looking man stepped forward and said, "I'm David. What do you want?" "Sir," she said. She stands up, and Nabal, she said, is a fool. "I'm sorry that he was so rude. Please, please, please accept our apologies and accept these gifts of food and wine that I brought. Please don't hurt us." Well, David looks at her kindly. He says, "I see how beautiful you are, and because of your kindness, I won't carry out my threat. Nabal and his men are safe." "Thank you, oh thank you," says Abigail. "Thank you ever so much." David takes her hand. "You're a very brave woman, Abigail, if I may say. Any man would be proud to have you as his wife. I hope we meet again some day." Well, much later in the day, Abigail arrives home. And again, she's rushing here and she's rushing there. Abigail, as always, is rushing everywhere. Nabal, you see, is throwing a party to celebrate a good harvest. He was there eating and drinking as a king. He thinks he's so rich that he's the most important man in the country. Abigail says nothing about her meeting with David. Not tonight, anyway. Anyway, the following day, in the morning, in fact, Abigail waits for Nabal to wake up. "Nabal," she says quietly, "Nabal, I've got something to tell you." She says very quietly, "Not now," he snaps back. And she went on, "Yesterday I had a meeting with David. I gave him the food he asked for and persuaded him not to kill you and all your men." "What?" shouts Nabal. His face was now red and fiery. "What?" he's shouting. Because you refused to give him the food, he planned to hurt us," said Abigail. I gave him the food, and, well, I hope you enjoyed your party last night, because if I hadn't have spoken to him, you wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be having that party last night." Still red and fiery, Nabal now shouting, "No, no!" And with that, "It's not true. You have disobeyed me," he was shouting at Abigail. And then suddenly he held his throat. And it seemed as if all of his body was collapsing in. And then suddenly, in a temper, he fell over and didn't move and was just laying on the floor. Well, Abigail couldn't believe what she'd seen. And there she left him there on the floor and ran out. Well, some time later, much later, a few days later, there was actually a very happy ending to this story. Because when David was around where Nabal lived, he said, "I must ask for this Abigail. She must live near here." And he found her and knocked on her door. Anyway, a long story short, what happened was Abigail fell in love with David and they got married. And now she has a very, very good husband who only speaks kind words and shares everything. And what an end to the story, that Abigail found happiness because she has now found a lovely husband who is sharing everything with her. Well, what I'd like to do now is just kind of ask you in a moment to close your eyes and think about a time when maybe all about the people in the world that are starving, and maybe what we could do as a school, as an individual, what we could do for them to help them and share our food. Just give it some thought for a moment. Close your eyes and think about all the people starving in the world. Yes, I'm sure you've thought of many of those TV programs where they show you those children starving, and some of the adults as well. And there is many ways to help them and share with them. Talk to your teacher, maybe talk to your mum and dad at home, or some parents or your grown-ups, and see what you can do to share. Well, finally, I'd like to close my time with you with a prayer. So, would you all close your eyes, please? Dear God, thank you that Abigail was brave enough to take food to David and his men. Please help all the rich countries in the world to share their food with all the poor countries in the world. Amen. Well, thank you for listening to me, and I hope that story will give you some thoughts about how you can share a little bit more. Remember, it makes people happy. Until next time, you take care. Bye-bye now.